Brigita Devries. Now, you're Vice President Sales and Marketing for Dream Cruises here in Australia, New Zealand. What an amazing job, what an amazing product, and what an amazing day to speak to you. And thank you for taking the time to chat to me.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's great to have the chat with you today, John. Always a pleasure.
No, it's always a pleasure chatting to you too, because I've followed Dream Cruises with a lot of interest because it's owned by Genting, but also because the ships are so colourful. And I think a lot of people in Australia don't really understand what the Dream Cruises product is all about. So tell me, what's the Dream Cruises product all about? What's special about it?
What isn't special about it? We have so many special things about it. I know that we'll just speak a bit beforehand. It is, you know, apart from the gorgeous hardware that we have, I mean, we're only 4 or 5 years into operation, so we're a relatively new cruise line to the fold anyway. But yes, we are so fortunate to have these beautiful, gorgeous special vessels, you know, to sell and to play with, I guess. We've got incredible crew. And as I said before, I just think, you know, what really makes us special and what makes Dream really stand out from the rest is definitely, you know, just the comfort and the care that our crew provide once you get on board. They just envelop you with, you know, so much love and care. You immediately become a part of the family the minute that you step on board. And, you know, not only with the way that the ships have been appointed, but it's everything from our food and the entertainment, which we win so much awards for, and of course the accommodation too, you know. And in addition to that, we've got the Palace, which is our suite complex, which is separate to the rest of the ship. So for those people who are wanting a little bit more luxury and a bit more, you know, appointed service, then, you know, you'll have your own private butler at your beck and call the minute that you arrive at the cruise terminal, and they'll whisk you straight onto the ship for a fully inclusive experience for the week. So that's on another level.
Where would you pitch yourself in the market? You know, I mean, people talk about 4-star cruising, 5-star cruising, 7-star cruising. Where do you pitch yourself? And also, are you both a combination of family cruising and sort of couples cruising?
Yeah, look, we certainly do. We're very much multi-gen. That's the whole, what's the whole, I guess the whole thing behind the brand. That's our whole philosophy. It's all about, you know, families cruising together. That's why we started this whole brand and vision. It was, you know, that our ships do provide something for everybody on board. You know, everyone from the grandkiddies right up to the grandparents. They can do whatever they want during the course of the day. They've got, you know, yoga exercises, Tai Chi, you know, all our different types of, you know, slower paced exercises on board or activities. You know, the kids can have fun all day at the zip line, the slides. Mum and dad can go for a, you know, like a massage or something, or do something else on board, or get off for the day and obviously explore the destination where we happen to be. But it is all about, you know, families cruising together and spending time together. That's what's really valuable now, I think, in this day and age. And, you know, the ships really do provide something for everyone on board. You know, that the families can congregate for dinner, they can catch a show and, you know, do something together, or, you know, do something completely different.
And what did you call the very special place you said that is separate to the rest of the ship?
The Palace.
The Palace, I like that.
The Palace. To me. Fit for a king and queen.
Tell me more about the Palace.
So yeah, look, this particular area is something that I think everyone should really treat themselves to, you know, sooner or later in their life. It is such a gorgeous part of the ship. In the minute that you step on board, you walk into this area and you do not want to leave. There's everything there that you need at your beck and call. And as I mentioned before, the minute that you arrive at the cruise terminal, your private butler is already waiting for you. Wow. Right there to be whisked onto the ship with all your luggage. And then once you get on board, it is free reign. You know, you've got everything included, everything from all your meals. So the Palace itself houses its own exclusive bar and restaurant and pool area.
Oh, wow.
And then in addition to that, you know, all our specialty restaurants, that's fully inclusive as well for our Palace guests. So I guess the great thing about the Palace too is that for those that have done a lot of small ship cruising and love that exclusivity and want to try the big stuff, this is a really great next step because they've still got that private enclave there. They can venture out, you know, scuttle about the ship, go catch a show, go try a different restaurant, but they'll always then come back to the comfort and the luxuriousness of the Palace, you know.
It's sort of a ship within a ship, really, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is. I mean, not dissimilar to other brands that they've got that same concept too, but this really is up another level. And I definitely think, you know, we are part of the Crystal Crystal family we've adopted a lot of those philosophies on board as well for the palace. But it's a beautiful experience, and also inclusive, your drinks. So you get the top drink package. So everything is there's nothing off limits. Your shore excursions, everything. So,
wow.
and it's actually it's quite reasonably priced if you're purchasing a balcony cabin and thinking about upgrading to a lead-in, suite for the palace. There's not that much more extra, and you're getting everything included. Wow. So it's a bit of a no-brainer in that sense. And
well, tell me
I have
something.
to get you on, John.
Yeah, absolutely. But first of all, tell me something. I was surprised to find out, and I think many people in the industry here wouldn't know, that you've been operating in Taiwan since the 26th of July, and you've operated 22 cruises. How have they all gone?
They have been incredibly successful. Like you're right, we have been operating there now for 2 months, just offering 1 to 5 night island hopping itineraries around Keelang. I guess now we're essentially operating under the new norm of a post-COVID era. This is where we're all heading to now in this industry, and now we're offering cruising for guests with total peace of mind. We've been really fortunate that there've been no incidents, and we're receiving great reviews by the guests. Our crew have never been happier to be back at work, of course. And
absolutely, yeah.
The locals, they can holiday, with ease. The local ground operators too, they're really loving the business, along with retail, restaurants, souvenir shop, everything. And, overall it's provided a really great positive boost for the country, in the community in more ways than one. And we're lucky too that the pent-up demand is it's continuing to grow all the time, and we're selling every departure at very healthy occupancies. And
good.
For something like this, it's quite a feat right now. I guess a great cause for a great case study too for other countries if they're keen to forge ahead with domestic.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and for other companies as well. I mean, look, okay, nobody wants to jinx anything, because the way COVID is, something could happen. You could have a case tomorrow. Perish the thought. But obviously, the protocols you've implemented have worked. So far so good. And the world we live in is going to be one where COVID will rear its ugly head every so often. Okay, but you seem to have done the right things. And there's so many people saying, so many guests, I don't want to go on a ship in those conditions. But you've had none of that, have you? Everybody's
no, we've not. We've been so fortunate. I mean, that's testament to our team and to all the health measures that we have implemented. The crew have adapted incredibly well. I guess that doesn't seem to be any, disruption on the ship operations either for the guests. We're just getting on with all those extra measures in place, and everyone's happy to work with them. But it doesn't, like I said, there doesn't really seem to be much, much sort of disturbance with that. And, I think that, the Taiwan government, they've been incredibly supportive of us as well. And they're obviously really pleased with the way that things are going. And it does set a really great precedent for the cruise industry ahead. And, COVID, it's not going to go away. I think now we've been sort of stalling, waiting to see what's going to happen. But I think the reality is that we now need to learn to live with this, and work around it.
I wonder whether
that's what the next step
I wonder
is.
whether we should send a few people from Australia, from the governmental side in Australia, New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, or whatever, up to Taiwan to see how the government implemented protocols along with you as a cruise company in Taiwan. There may be lessons to be learned. Because we're still, Royal Caribbean, which we shouldn't talk about during this, but have just put off all their cruises until the beginning of the year, I think, next year. And you go, God, there's got to be a better way. But look, good news as well for you. You're kicking off in Singapore in November as well. Tell me the story there.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Well, I know. Look, how about that? This is something that we've been waiting for a really long time. I mean, Singapore for us is kind of like the ants pants of getting a deployment back happening, I guess. And the team's been working on this for a really long time, and we're really pleased that this day is coming within a few weeks. The Singapore government gave us the go-ahead to commence operations, and this was based on our stringent enhanced health and safety protocols, with our exemplary track record too that we've had in Taiwan. So that really gave us, a great positive move forward and put us in good stead to get Singapore happening. We've been operating from Singapore over the last couple of decades as well, and we've had a really long-standing partnership with the Singapore government. So that also You know, we've got some great
Yeah.
you know, relationships built there. So this is, I guess, our opportunity to give back to
Yeah.
Singapore, to the community, and provide some much needed boost to the local tourism industry
Yeah.
as well. And, you know, now we can provide the Singapore residents with you know, a different holiday option rather than just a land-based, you know, hotel or resort, and just bring back the joy of cruising, I guess, too, and you know, get the word back out there that cruising is safe and it can be done, and we can cruise in a COVID world.
Well, I firmly believe that cruising going forward is going to be the safest way to have a holiday. Now, the only sad things about the Taiwan and Singapore programs is that currently they're only available to residents of those two countries.
I know.
But who knows? The Singapore one may become part of the bubble that's going to emerge with Singapore.
Yeah.
But what about your
that's
plans? Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
So what about your plans for the future? Okay, so you're operating in Taiwan, operating in Singapore, obviously, well, praying that Singapore is going to be successful, which it will be. What are your plans for the future? Any plans for Australia, for example?
Well, look, anything is possible, I guess. Never say never in the land of dream cruises. But look, it will all depend on, you know, what happens here when the borders can open. You know, whether the government will allow cruising. There's always an option to you know, to do so. I mean, we do have plans to return back to the region here, but not until, you know, I guess the dust has settled and, you know, the government are accepting cruise ships to return, and obviously ensuring that, you know, we are COVID safe, and all the protocols that we have in place are also conducive of a safe holiday here as well. And I mean, even just with now our Singapore deployment that's due to start, you know, there will be mandatory COVID tests every guest above the age of 13 before they get on the ship. And also any guests age 7 or above are also required to register for this app that they have, you know, like Trace Together. So if there's any cases, they can obviously, you know, look back and trace it. So, you know, there's all these measures in place, and I think, you know, we said it before, we've got to learn to live with this now. I think we've gone as a day where we're waiting to see, oh, it'll finish off. It's never going to go away. Well, at this point in time, we don't have much on the horizon for the second half of next year. As a company, we're actually just waiting to see what develops in Asia. Obviously, we've put our current deployments on hold as we don't want to, I guess, get too much business on the books where we're going to have to cancel and refund. So what we're doing now is just assessing the situation in Asia. Like I strongly believe that there'll be more borders opening with certain countries over the next few months across Asia. Whether or not there becomes certain travel bubbles that develop as well, that's yet to be seen, and that could very possibly well be the way of our future over the next year or two. You know, for overseas travel, there'll be certain bubbles and agreements between certain countries.
Let me come back to the ships for a second then. So give me a summary in a short sentence. What makes your ships special and different?
Ooh, you've got me there now.
That's a mean one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it's our ships are extraordinary. The service, the quality, the destinations, and the overall vibe on board really is what surpasses Dream as a product. It's amazing, absolutely, truly amazing, and we bring their destination to the guest. You know?
Well, I think you summed it up nicely there in one sentence, which is good, and also the name of the company, Dream. You know, for most people,
making travel dreams come true for everybody. That's what we do.
But equally so, I mean, I think for most people that is a dream, you know, to be able to get cruising again, and you're well positioned to be able to do that. So I think there's a lot of lessons for a lot of companies in terms of the protocols you've implemented, and also for government in Australia as well. That, you know, they've got to bite the bullets and get going. I can't imagine what it must be like for the operators that operate, you know, we'll call it domestically out of Australia. And I've written articles and been a proponent of, well, why aren't cruise companies, and I know the other media have, cruise companies, I know the ships aren't here, they're in the Philippines and places, but why can't they operate Queensland cruises from Queensland and South Australia cruises from South Australia, or, you know, Western Australia cruises from Fremantle? that would put them in a strong position to be able to operate quickly when things do get better, when there is a vaccine. But look, I'm very impressed with what you're doing at Dream Cruises. It looks wonderful. Yes, when all the dust has settled, would love to go on board and do some reporting from there. But look, thank you
We'll get
very
you in the
much.
palace, John.
Absolutely, yes. The king in the palace, yeah, on the prince.
Yeah, no, but yeah, thank you. Yeah, but thank you so much for your time today. I do appreciate it. It's always nice to have the opportunity to just chat. But yeah, we're obviously very, very proud of the team and what they've achieved at a head office level and dealing with all the relevant authorities and governments. They've done an incredible job to forge ahead, and it's given, I think, the industry a good positive step forward anyway.
Wonderful. Brigita, thank you for your time today and joining me on eGlobal Travel Media.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. Thank you. Take care.